Have you noticed that the neighborhood surrounding our campus has been changing? As I walk from the Shaw Howard Metro Station to campus, the street landscape that I knew last year is a thing of the past. The abandoned buildings and small black-owned businesses are gone, and they're being replaced with apartment complex construction and large office buildings. The ethnicity of the homeowners in the Detroit Park area where I dormed last year are changing as well. And with them, they're bringing new coffee shops and bistros to the Detroit Park area, things that did not exist before. The transformation of Georgia Avenue and LaDroit Park are just two examples of the countless amount of community development and gentrification that is occurring in Washington, D.C. As a long-term resident of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area and as a student at Howard University, I feel that it's necessary to share with my peers the changes that are occurring in the university's surrounding area and the community as a whole. The city's developments please the newcomers and they boost revenue to the nation's capital. However, its long-term residents and distinct cultural groups are seeing the effects of these changes as gentrification. Washington, D.C.'s gentrification is changing the landscape of Washington, D.C. both structurally and culturally, and the future of Washington, D.C. is up for grabs. Now you might wonder, what is gentrification exactly? You've heard of the word, but you're not really sure what it is. Gentrification is the process of neighborhood change that results in the replacement of lower class residents with higher income ones. It changes the makeup of the community and consequently changes the neighborhood's culture. In the instance of Washington, D.C., the black working class cultural communities are being replaced by young white college educated ones. The Census Bureau has stated that the white population has jumped by 31% in the past decade, while the black population has been declined by 11%. Washington, D.C. has had a very distinct African American majority in culture. It was coined the Chocolate City, and it was the first city in the United States of America to have an African American majority. The race riots in 1968 crippled the city's economy very drastically. Businesses were destroyed, violence spiked, and people who were able to left Washington, D.C. for the surrounding suburbs, leaving the city crippled. Now, people are returning to the city, but they're not the Chocolate City residents of the past. They're young, white, college-educated professionals. And with their coming, there has been a huge amount of city development, policy changes, and investment in real estate. Newcomers argue that they are not the cause of the gentrification. They say that they're simply demanding the restorations of the neighborhoods that they are calling home. They see themselves as trailblazers trying to preserve the integrity of the historic neighborhoods in which they live. They enjoy D.C. and plan to stay, and they feel that their change that they're bringing is positive. Now, while there is support for city development and economic advancement in Washington, D.C., long-term residents are opposing to the negative changes that are coming. Many less affluent blacks say that they're feeling left out of the city's improving fortune. Several dozen owners of small businesses and houses are in the danger of losing their properties because of rising taxes. In April, the Census Bureau reported that Ward 8, the city's mostly poor and black southeast area of the city, has had the highest jobless rate in the country, which doesn't make sense if the country and Washington, D.C. is revamping. The neighbors also feel they're losing out culturally. The newer visions for the city are very cosmetic, and they cater to the young white majority that is coming in. This causes tensions. Long-term residents feel that if newcomers are serious about becoming a part of their neighborhoods that has existed way before they've come, they feel that they can't go into their neighborhoods assuming that the community they move into has to adjust to their thinking, their values, and their customs. Gentrification in Washington, D.C. doesn't have to happen. With thoughtful approaches to city planning, conversation, and compromises between old neighbors and new neighbors, gentrification doesn't have to happen. On a policy level, leaders need to ensure that affordable housing is available. They need to encourage mixed income communities and focus on job creation for all. They also need to respect the cultures that has existed for generations. We can all coexist together, but the question that arises with gentrification is simple. Do we all want to be together? And if so, we need to work to do so. Thank you.